Amigos do Mosaico, não sei se vocês se lembram, mas semana passada nós trouxemos o professor Ozeri, vice-presidente do Instituto Weizmann, para conversar um pouco conosco. É raro o Weizmann estar aqui no Brasil e eles têm, enfim, um monte de coisas interessantes para contar e são, de certa forma, a base, o fundamento da tecnologia, da educação avançada que ajudou a construir Israel. Essa semana, nós estamos trazendo uma novidade do Instituto Weizmann, que é o Instituto de Sustentabilidade Ambiental, que eles acabaram de criar. E nós temos o prazer de receber o professor Ron Milo, que é o manda-chuva, o diretor desse instituto. Professor Miller, it's a real pleasure to have you here at Mosaico na TV. And sustainability is something that's been around in the news and in the heads of everybody who's concerned for some time already. I'm wondering, why is the Weizmann Institute going into this field after farming, defense, science, medicine, anything we can think of has the hand of the Weizmann Institute? Why are you going now into sustainability?
So really, I would say sustainability is the challenge of this 21st century. It's really where science is going, where technology needs to go, and where our societies have to handle, because this is at the basis of our life here on Earth. And food relies on that, but also our health relies on that. And even I would say, thinking about things like defense, if the environment, and there will be big effects of hunger or changes in climate, also the peace internationally would be challenged very much. So it actually touches on that as well. And at the Weizmann Institute, we've been working on that for many years. Currently, there's about 60 groups of research around that subject from all sorts of angles. But we now understand we need to give them more talent, more capabilities, and that's why we decided to form the Institute for Environmental Sustainability now.
Okay. When you mention, let's say, problems between countries, are we talking about water?
So it could be water. It could be as a result of the fact that if you have hunger because of droughts or because of some of temperatures. I know even here in Brazil or in Argentina, there were problems recently in terms of like the effects on rain. So similar things happening now in other places, say in the Middle East, then it could have very strong effects on the stability.
Question coming from a very ignorant person. If you look at the news, there are two lines trying to make a point. One says the environment is in danger, carbon dioxide is a real problem, the cars, and so forth, and we're doomed. And on the other hand, you have people saying this is a lot of nonsense, nothing like that will ever happen. The global warming has nothing to do with us, it has to do with the nature of things, and as the earth warmed, then it cooled back again, and other allegations like that. Coming from the Weizmann Institute, can we say that we have proof that things are not going so well with the environment, that we should look closely at it?
Yes, so the answer is positively yes.
Yes.
There's a scientific consensus both on the magnitude of challenges that we have of the environment,
yes,
and how they're affecting us and will be affecting us, and also about the root causes of the changes that we're seeing and observing in our climate as a result mostly of greenhouse gas emissions that are human sourced. It's true that there were changes in the history of Earth, but those were changes that happened over many millions of years, and the changes that we're seeing now are more than happened in the past million years. So throughout the time that humanity has been around and flourishing, we've never seen anything like this. And the pace of things, how quickly it changes, is more than ever in the history of the planet. So there's a consensus that the science says that it's human caused and that we better do something about it. I wouldn't use the word doomed because I think that's not the way to think about it.
Okay.
Science is all about rational solutions and trying to think how to move forward and do things better than the alternative.
Okay. Professor Ozeri was here last week, and he gave us an example, for instance, the development of biodegradable plastic. What other things can you tell me that I would probably fascinate everybody who's watching this interview?
So we're an institute looking at gaining insights from basic science, and through that, understanding how you could solve some of those problems. So for example, a professor at Weizmann who's coming from a background of studying our health and our microbiome, the bacteria in our body, is now applying the same techniques in order to study the bacteria in soil that affect the productivity of our agriculture. So he's using the fact that we have measurements in Israel for many years on different plots of land with different levels of fertilizer, of water, etc. And now he could go into those soils and look at what's happening there in terms of the bacteria, and from that try to understand what can we do in order to improve the way we're producing food in a changing climate. So that's one example.
Okay, another.
Another example is working on how to take carbon dioxide that's in the atmosphere and rising because of our emissions, and finding new ways to teach bacteria to uptake that CO2, uptake that carbon dioxide, and basically change their diet from being ones that eat sugar and emit carbon dioxide to being bacteria that have a diet that takes the carbon dioxide and creates things that we could afterwards use for feed, for fuels, maybe even for food.
What are your expectations, since you just started, but you already have 60 groups of people working? What are your expectations, let's say, for the next 5 or 10 years?
Yeah, so it's important to understand how science works. We're working as a community.
Yes.
So it doesn't have to be that the solutions would come only from the Weizmann Institute.
Okay.
We're pushing the boundaries in terms of our understanding towards solutions with the research that we're doing. And then the thing you do whenever you find something interesting, you go and tell everybody. That's a scientific method. You go and publish it, and then somebody could take it from there and take it forward. And I'm pretty sure that with the efforts that are being done, in the next 5 years, there'll be many studies coming out that would enable us as a community to push forward such that in 10 years' time, we'll have solutions that are better than what we have now. Some of them coming from the Weizmann Institute, some of them coming from other places, some of them coming from companies that started as a commercialization of some of those ideas. Okay. And coming from Israel, which is the startup nation, yes, I'm pretty sure that any good idea that would come would quickly move into startup and from there forward.
And become a successful business.
Or at least try.
All right. I wish I could go on with this interview for another hour. Unfortunately, we don't have so much time. I'd like to ask you a last little favor. What would you say in terms of environment? How would you counsel? What would you suggest to our viewers? What should they worry about, and what could they do in terms of helping the environment survive?
So I think each one of us, because it's so important for us, should look at the levers that they have in order to change things. If you're a teacher, bring up that subject with your students. If you're a scientist, decide to shift your effort to focus on this. Okay. If you're somebody who goes to vote, which I hope we all affect the policymakers, by voting you can change the discussion. If you have a lot of money, maybe invest in companies and research on those subjects. I think each one in their own sphere of influence can do the best they can.
Professor Milo, once again, thank you for honoring us with your presence. I am sure that your visit to Brazil will be successful, and I hope I can hear from you and from the Weizmann Institute in a short period of time again.
Thank you very much. I'm happy meeting you and the people listening and hearing us and watching us. Thank you very much.
O Mosaico volta já já.